Hi there, it's Martin, and just coming to you on Friday if you're interested. And just in case it looks a little different, it's a rainy, cloudy day out there, so we're not getting as much sunlight coming in, so it's a little darker where I usually shoot my videos. And the dogs are in the house now. Usually I let them go out in the back to play while I'm doing this, but they're not doing that, so you may hear the crazy hooligans now and again. But hopefully we'll be able to get through this without too many interruptions. Um, if you've looked at the title at all, you're going to see that we're going to be talking about something that's a little crazy, something that just doesn't make sense on the very face of it. I mean, if we're talking about how to go forward, what in the world does the idea of backwards have to do with moving forward? And I know, as crazy as it sounds, it really does depend on your perception. So to start with, let's just talk about the whole idea of backwards and forwards. And generally speaking, we always think of forwards as in front of us and backwards as behind us. And that's pretty much true. Forward is in front and backwards is behind, and we all know that since we were little kids. But the thing that a lot of times we don't take into account is the actual direction depends upon our perspective, which way we're pointed at the time. If we're pointed due north, then forward is north, and due south is backwards. If all of a sudden we turn 180 degrees and we're pointed due south, then due south is no longer backwards, but due south is forward, and due north is backwards. So the whole idea of forward and backward is dependent upon our perception, upon the direction that we're facing at the time, or at least the direction that is forward can change based on what direction we are facing. Now, I'm not really talking about changing our directions as far as facing things, but I do want to kind of get the idea that forward and backward is not as set in stone as we seem to think it is. Um, Now, what I'm really going to be talking about today is is an idea that's demonstrated best by one of mankind's first simple machines. And a simple machine is something like a lever, for instance. You have the fulcrum, you have the 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 board, the lever, you have the resistance, and then you have the force. And if you move that lever long enough and you put the fulcrum in the right place, you can use a very small amount of force to move a very large piece of resistance. It's a simple machine. It's not very complex, but in and of itself, it can be extremely powerful. Um, what I'm talking about is the exact same idea. Um, if you're interested, this is almost always in one of the top 5 machines that change the world whenever people are going along and making those lists. I know I like to watch Discovery Channel now and again, and they do that from time to time. Machines, Top 100 machines that change the world, or ideas or things, and this always falls in one of them. As a matter of fact, it's so common. We see them everywhere. We use them every day, and we don't really give them much thought. What I'm talking about is a wheel, and it's so common. No one even knows exactly who discovered it, who invented it. It's just kind of been there from close to the beginning. But the wheel, even though it is a simple machine, works on some very interesting and complex principles. And if you take an idea and you look at the wheel from the side, if you put a point on the wheel and then spin it, that point goes backwards and then forwards. And that becomes the circle. And it's the circular shape of that wheel that makes it useful, that gives it its ability to carry us wherever it is that we want to go. But it is that constant backwards and forward motion that the wheel makes as it circles around an axle that gives it its ability to change the world, to change civilization as we know it. Um, there's no way that our civilization could be what it is right now without the idea of the wheel. And there are a whole lot of different things in the wheel. I mean, there's the hub, there's the rim, there's the axle. You have all of those, and then that circular motion doesn't go anywhere. If you take that wheel and you just hold it up and spin it, it's just going to spin in a circle and keep going and going and going and not really go anywhere. But once you take that spinning wheel and you apply it to the level surface of the ground, then that spinning wheel starts moving. And it takes that axle and it propels that axle in the direction that it's spinning. And then you have attached to that axle a box that you ride in or that you put things in, and it moves all of that forward. But if you stop and look at the wheel itself isn't really making any distance. All it's doing is spinning in a circle and using that circular motion, that backwards and forward motion, to propel the axle and the box and whatever else happens to be in the box. You can start off by dragging that wheel yourself, drag that box with the two wheels sitting on an axle yourself, and then it progressed to strapping it to animals, and then having the animals go along, and then pretty soon you have 3 or 4 horses, and you have the whole Ben-Hur and the chariot races and all of that. And then somebody says, well, hey, wait a second, we can make a machine that will convert steam into energy and then convert that motion into a circular motion and take that circular motion, and voila, we have steam engines, and we have trains, and then automobiles. And then we said, well, hey, why mess around with steam when we have petroleum products that we can burn and explode and have an internal combustion engine? And then we get electricity, and we go and we go and we go. And all of those different modes of transportation all rely on the simplest concept of the wheel. The idea that this one thing repeating the same motion backwards and forwards, over and over and over again, transfers all of that energy into forward motion or backward motion or directed motion, whatever we want. After a while, then you get 2 guys who say, gee, I can do mine faster than you can do yours, and after a night of running moonshine and a little bit of liquor, voila, there's NASCAR. We humans just take things and adapt them. But a lot of times we forget, or because it is so common, we don't realize the true power of the simplicity of the idea. And that's what I'm talking about today, is strip away all of the complexities that we've heaped onto this simple machine, this wheel. And if you stop and you look at it, the simplest idea is the most powerful thing that this wheel has going for it. It is the ability to take that same motion, that same backwards and forwards circular motion, and apply it to forward progress. It's one good idea. That's right. Somebody somewhere came up with a good idea and decided to call it a wheel. We now take that good idea and use it over and over and over and over again. And by us using that idea over and over and over again, it expands itself into so many different areas of our lives, and it brings so much change that we don't really think about it as something that's simple. We lose the simplicity of it. And whatever you want to do, in your life, we become like the wheel. We lose the simplicity of the concept of just repeating the same motion over and over again to gain our traction and to gain our progress. To being, well, we have to keep doing new things. We have to, we can't use wooden wheels anymore. We have to use iron wheels, and we have to have spokes, and now we have to have rubber wheels, and now we have to have air in those wheels, and now we're working on ways that we can make wheels like that without air in them. And we forget that the whole idea is to take that one simple device and help us get from here to there faster and easier. Now, it doesn't matter where you want to go so much as it matters that you want to get there. So you take that wheel and you point it in the direction that you want to go, or you take those four wheels and you point them in the direction that you want to go. You use the engine that is in your car to start it up and drive it along the way, and it gets you where you want to go. And ultimately, you would not be anywhere if it weren't for that very simple concept of repetitious motion, of repeating the same circular motion over and over and over again. And that is also the way we progress when we learn things. The whole idea of progress, we've gotten so complex and we've made it so difficult that we've lost the truth and the simplicity. One good idea, the wheel, completely changed the entire world. And it has always been up there in the top ideas that changed the world. It kind of depends on who's running the show, who's running the show as far as whether it's number one or farther down the list. I think if engineers were running the show, the wheel would be number one because, well, it's a simple machine that really did absolutely change the world. If journalists are running things, then they'd vote for the printing press because, well, that's more their thing. I'm not here to say which one is better or worse, but what I am here to say is that our own personal progress is like using a wheel. We don't want to keep reinventing the wheel. There's no point in continuing to reinvent the wheel. We just use the wheel over and over and over again to get ourselves where we want to go. And by that, I mean the repetition of one good idea. One good idea. That's all it takes. It can carry you to wherever you want to go. One good idea can make people millions, and it does. There are people who come up with just that one good idea that reaches out and helps millions and millions of people. They can become wealthy for that. So what I'm really here saying is it's time that we stopped worrying about quantity of our knowledge and started focusing on the quality and the magnification or the multiplication power of repetition. If you repeat the same thing over and over and over again, just like the wheel, you will move backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. But that simple backwards and forwards motion will propel your entire vehicle wherever you want it to go. And you will move and reach and attain. It's taking that circular path and applying it to the linear line of the direction we want to go in. You can hold that same wheel up off the ground and watch it spin for hours, and it does nothing but spin. but you take that wheel and you put it in contact with the ground, then you are taking the magnification force of repetition over and over. That wheel spinning, wheels on the bus go round and round, and it takes you wherever you want to go. When you're looking at anything that you want to do, it doesn't really matter what you want to achieve. The way to do that is you find the simple concepts. You find the basics that are universal to that goal, and you apply them over and over and over and over again. It's not, it's not the sexy, oh, I know so much. It is knowing that one thing and doing it over and over and over again that you get so good that it becomes so fast that before you know it, you are a NASCAR stock car flying around the track at 200 miles an hour, and people are jumping and screaming and hollering and paying millions of dollars a year just to watch you and your friends do that. It's the same idea that your little toy car or your Honda or whatever else you may be driving out in the driveway. It's the same thing. The wheels are wheels. The only difference is just how fast you get them to spin. And practice and repetition allows you to spin your mental wheels faster and faster and faster, and propel you forward faster and faster and faster. If you're always running around trying to learn the latest new thing, then you never will take the time that it takes to learn how to really make that simple thing that you knew work well. You're never going to get anywhere. You're always going to have to stop and reinvent that wheel, and by the time you get there, the newest thing is around the bend, and all of a sudden, hey, the next bright and shiny object has got your attention. That's why only 2% of the people really make it. 98% of the people out there, that 98% of the people that just don't succeed. If you want to talk about money, it's the 98% of the people that don't make the money. 1-2% of the people in the world make 98% of the money. 98% of the people make 2% of the money. And money is just a way to keep track of things. But it's that 98% that are operating under the mistaken belief that it takes a huge amount of knowledge and experience and whatever to do this. And it's the 2% of people that know, all I got to do is know one thing. All I got to do is know how to make that wheel spin. And if I can make that wheel spin and I get good at that and I do it over and over and over again, then I can spin that wheel faster and faster and faster, and I'm circling the track faster than everybody else. And I win. We lose sight of the simplicity of the idea that the wheel is just a little device that moves backwards and forwards. It's just taken that backwards and forwards motion, set it on its side, put it into a circle, attached it to an axle, attached a vehicle to that axle, and has pointed it in a direction, and just keep that wheel spinning. So what I'm telling you is, sometimes to move forward, we have to use the power of backwards. Go backwards. Go back to something that you've known, something that you've learned, or find something and stick with it. Go over it and over it and over it again. Learn how to make best use of that wheel that you have. Stop running off and trying to find other wheels. Stop inventing new wheels. The wheel is the wheel. It's a circle. Now, there are important parts to the wheel, but once you've got the basic concept of the wheel, you've got the hub, you've got the axle, you've got the space between the hub and the wheel and the rim, and the greater the space between those two, the faster that wheel will carry that vehicle forward. But it doesn't do you any good at all if you keep changing wheels on your car. Again, if you want to look at NASCAR, every time they have to stop that car from running to pull it in, to give it fuel, to change the wheels, to do whatever they do, they're losing time. They're not progressing. They're sitting still, and their competition is progressing. So, if you really want to progress better than everybody else, use the power of that back and forth circular motion of the wheel. Apply that to yourself. Find your one good idea and go over it again and again and again. And it's not fancy, it's not sexy, it's not what everybody wants to hear and wants to know. But it's what makes you progress. It's what will get you forward. And that's what the 2% know. 2% know that I don't have to know everything. I just got to know this one thing, and I got to make it work. And when I make it work, it will take me where I need to go. So find your wheel, whatever that wheel is. If you're looking for something that you can sit to, you can learn, and that will take you where you want to go, just look down below and there's a link, and you can follow that link, and that will take you to a place where you can sign up and join me. And I invite you to do that. If you're seeing this on YouTube, then hey, tell me what you think. Leave a message. Click the like button. Follow the link and find out more about what I'm talking, because you can certainly learn everything that you need to know. There are over a dozen different things that can really help you progress if you just pick one and master it. Use that wheel. Use the power of the repetition of the spinning wheel to move you forward. Sometimes you have to use the power of backwards to propel you forwards. And it's been here a while, so I'm going to cut this one off now. If you've gone this far and you're still listening to me, I'd like to say thanks. If you agree with me, leave me a message. If you disagree with me, hey, if you think I'm crazy, tell me. I look forward to hearing what you think about this. And if you're interested at all in joining me and learning a little bit more about what you can do and how you can achieve anything you want, if it's money, if it's whatever else, there are ways that you can do that. And all you need to do is find the right wheel and then get it spinning. So this rainy day in Dallas, I hope you have a great time. I hope I helped you out. Or at least I hope I got you to thinking about something. Let me know what you think, and I will talk with you.